Good morning. It's a bright and early morning. We're here to fight CPS with your host, Bob Pace. It's April 11th, and it's a Friday, and I'm so glad that you found me. You found me on Facebook fighting CPS. I'm broadcasting out of the channel. Um, YouTube channel, CPS Defense Attorney Vincent Davis. Now, I'm broadcasting on StreamYard. It's the application we used. And I want to give a warm welcome. Now, normally I'm on at 8 o'clock on the weekends in the morning, but I come on early this morning because I have a commitment I have to go to today, a family commitment. Anyway, I'm glad that you found me or joined me. This is a live stream where we talk about CPS, about the bad CPS, and how it can help you. I'm not an attorney. I'm a loving father. Have 42 years of marriage, and have raised 6 children. 3 are older with older families, but my 3 younger ones were the ones that I too was a victim of CPS. I ran into a rogue CPS entity that destroyed my life. I've been fighting them for 15 years, along with Mr. Davis, who's my attorney. He's the one that I had hired to help defend my case and get my boys back. And I can't emphasize enough how important it is to have a professional juvenile law, family law, dependency law attorney. Dependency law is what you're in. That's what CPS uses. And you should have a background with juveniles and families. That's the kind of attorney you want to look for. And Vincent Davis is that attorney. He has 39 years of fighting CPS. He's a trial attorney. He once was a foster child himself. And he knows how to fight CPS. Not only that, he's also have done civil lawsuits where he's won millions of dollars back. After your case is closed, he's filed that civil lawsuit against your civil rights or your constitutional rights that were violated by CPS. A lot of you know what I'm talking about, too, because they do. This agency is something you don't expect. It's a government entity that was formed by Congress in 1962. And the sole purpose is to protect our children from neglect and abuse, but also they're supposed to do family reunification if there's hiccups within the family members, and they're supposed to provide you with food, shelter, clothing, transportation, educational, medical, and even offer you a job. Now, Congress directed Social Services to create this entity, which I call the Child Protection System. There's many different names in every different county and every different state and worldwide that CPS is called. So when I say CPS, I mean all the entities. Certain counties, like in LA County in California, it's the Department of Children and Family Services. Next door in Orange County, it's the Child Protection Services. In Arizona's Department of Children's Services, DCF. In Richmond, Kentucky, it's called the Cabinet. So no matter where you go, there's CPS, child protection systems everywhere. And they're supposed to help families. But apparently, some of them have gone rogue. What I mean by that is they take your children unnecessary and have them trafficking into foster care. Have them traffic into foster care. And that's hard to swallow when your child is taken from you. When your families are broken up because of unfortunate experience, you may have had a hurricane, a heavy rain, a flood. You may have had a fire that burned your home down and stuff. But CPS is notoriously to attack people that are down and out. People that are wealthy enough to hire that special attorney right away will get themselves out of the matter. will get themselves out of the matter. Now, there's many ways that this live stream does. In this room, there are several things you can do while you're in here. One of the first things that you can do is you can take notes and listen. Also, you can give emojis, smiley faces, thumbs up, hearts, or even send stars. Please check the follow button, write reviews, and then also check the notification. You want to know when I'm going to be on. Now, I know at this early morning it's very hard for people on the West Coast to be up this early. And I would do this again tomorrow, Saturday, and Sunday at 4 a.m. in the morning. 4 a.m. in the morning. And this is going to be recorded, so this can be played back later for a lot of people that will do so. Now, besides being in this room, you can also text me a message. Now, you can text a message of a comment or a question, and it should pertain to CPS. Please state your first name, your city or county, your state, and country. Now, what I mean by country is I have right now 21 countries, all 50 states, including the District of Columbia, that have called in about their case. They've talked to me. I've talked to over 1,000 people from around the world. These countries started in Indonesia, Bangladesh, India, up in the Middle East to Saudi Arabia and Libya, then over to Africa, to Liberia, to Sudan, to Mozambique, to the country of South Africa. There's been several provinces there. Then we go up to Europe. It's England, Scotland, and Wales, and Denmark and Sweden. Then across the pond to North America, it's been Canada, 4 provinces there, all 50 states in the United States, also the District of Columbia. And then there's been Mexico, down south of the border, and then down in South America, north of Brazil. On the East Coast is Grenada. Then across the Pacific, we've had New Zealand, and then the land down under Australia. And Australia's had several states. So it's a well-diverse group of people. As I say, when I say 50 states, some of them have been 3 or 4 from the same state, have the same issues. It's sad to say that there is this problem here with these really crooked agency. Not all can be trusted. They're not transparent. They retaliate. They're mean. They're not educated. It's terrible. Fighting CPS is like doing open heart surgery. But if you know anything about open heart surgery, it requires a specialized doctor. Same thing goes true for CPS. You need someone who's trained in juvenile law, family law, dependency law, who has experience of fighting CPS against the children being trafficked into foster care. There's also bad foster care, and there's good foster care. In fact, one of the individuals that's on my show, her name is Betty Jo from Montana, a very sweet person. She's a foster care mom. And unfortunately, she had her niece that she was trying to adopt, get guardianship, lost. And so it really distraught her. She was really hurt by it. She really did. But she's a good person, and she will definitely recuperate from it. I have lots of people from different parts of the country. It's over 1,000 people. Not all CPS is bad, but there are ones that are pockets or rogues that are bad. And you got to be prepared. And I've developed 5 rules to go by. And that's really, really important. Now, not only you can text in comments or questions, you can also tell me about your case. Please start from the beginning to where you're at the moment. So that's one way in the room. Another way is you can be a guest on my live stream. All you have to do is contact my show producer, Grace, at vincentwdavis.com. Now, Grace is a remarkable, hardworking individual who helps keep the show alive, and I want to thank her for what she does. But I also like to see you being a guest on my live stream. I can have up to 9 of you talking and being on here. Because the other way you can talk to me is by phone, but on phone it's a one-on-one. So being a guest, I can have 9 of you. And I look forward to you doing that. I look forward to you being that way. Now, to be a guest, all you have to do is email my show producer, Grace, at vincentwdavis.com. That's Grace at vincentwdavis.com to be on my live stream. Now, you pick one of the 14 live streams that I'm on. As I say, I'm on Monday through Friday at 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, except today I'm on early at 4 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. And then on the weekends, I'm on at 8 o'clock Pacific Standard Time, but this weekend I'm on at 4 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. Then in the evening, I'm on Monday through Sunday, all 7 days, at 7 p.m. But tonight, Saturday, and Sunday, I'll be on at 8 p.m. 8 p.m. is my time. And so, it's really, 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 really frustrating and hard. That's for sure. No question about that. Because you're dealing with your case as hard. Now, I'm not an attorney. As I told you, I'm a loving father and a husband. And I have over 42 years of marriage experience. I have a lot that I can help you with in my experience in my case. My case lasted from 2010 to 2017. It was a very difficult case. It's where one of my children was actually retaliated and taken away from us parents in retaliation. It was a horrible thing. You know, at first I tried to use the court-appointed attorneys. Then I tried to actively email the people about illegal things that they were doing. They had put our children in danger when they first took the children. Now, I first got wind of CPS back in 2010. Unfortunately, that summer of 2010, I was laid off through no fault of my own. We had to close our job on public general contracting because the contracts that I had gotten for the company were put on hold so the state could use the money to keep the state of California afloat. That was illegal, but my owner did not want to pursue it. So I thought I could find work elsewhere, but it was hard at age 60. They just don't like dinosaurs. Anyway, my in-laws choose this time to sit there and try to take our children away from us. They never liked me marrying their daughter. They didn't come to the wedding. We had been married, for a long time. And they somehow reasoned they wanted to take our children. So they thought they could drive a stake between us and CPS. One of the family members actually works for CPS. So they decided to call once a week from Ohio to California and make up stories that weren't true, like we weren't taking care of our children, we weren't giving them baths, we weren't putting clothing on them, they weren't in school, we weren't paying utilities. All this I disproved to them with showing their grade reports, showing how well they're doing in school, and you know, uh, paying for a private school is expensive, and I did that for two of my children because we wanted the best education we could ever have. But unfortunately, these complaints went week by week, month after month, year after year for 5 years, to the point where CPS got frustrated. That was in Orange County, California. So they didn't hire, they asked the police department to one time more open the home. They wanted to find something wrong and they couldn't find anything wrong. Every time I showed them, I disproved it. Anyway, they had the police detective find me and then order me to come home. And when I showed up, and I didn't know you're not supposed to, you can say no to them. They had 2 code enforcement, 5 firemen, 3 social workers, 2 uniformed policemen, and a detective, all in my front yard. I lived in a private neighborhood a mile from the beach. My home was beautiful. It was modern. It was built not too long ago. High voltage ceilings. Each child had their own bedroom and bathroom, and it was safe. And they were fed well there. Anyway, I learned about how reporting's done. You see, there's 2 ways that CPS uh, can be called by either a lay person or a professional person who are mandated by law to be reporters of abuse or neglect. This is what they're supposed to protect our kids from, neglect and abuse. But they're also supposed to do family reunification and never take a child when they're in danger. That was wrong. That was wrong. So I want to tell you all, you have to be careful out there. And I've developed these 5 rules that if I had used what my case was, I never would have lost any of my children. Now, we had a caseworker, very young, not educated, in high school education, no experience with families or how to do family reunification thing. And so she thought that they could take our children who were in school at the time, not in danger. But when one incident we had where she was under oath in court because my wife's sister and husband were trying to adopt her daughter. So they're trying to find out if the mother was fit. Now, before I go much further, I need to finish up with my housekeeping. We were talking about being a guest. When you email one of the 14 shows to Grace at gracevincentwdavis.com, she'll put you on the SteamYard. She'll give you the link to SteamYard. If you get knocked off, you can use it again. Get knocked off and so forth. Now, if you're a guest on my show or you call in to my show, I'll put my call-in number up shortly. You can get a free 15-minute private Zoom consultation with Mr. Davis. If you'd like more time, I got a special arrangement for $60 for 30 minutes Zoom consultation with Attorney Davis. All you have to do is go to that link, candly.com, apps, VWD /Bob Pace. Use your credit card and you can schedule yourself your 15 minutes with a private Zoom consultation with Mr. Davis. You make your list of questions, prioritize which the ones you want to answer first, and then you meet with him. So you can do that either by, you get a free 15-minute consultation by being a guest or calling in, and for $6 you get 30 minutes. So that is important there. Now back to my case when the social worker was being asked under oath if the adopted parents were good parents. These were my wife's sister and brother. And it was said, the social worker said they're great parents. Well, Mr. Davis had done his homework and started to read reports from the police department about these two people, because he had asked her, had there been any domestic violence? And she said, no, they're great parents. Well, then he started reading reports. There were case after case of domestic violence, but it was physical domestic violence, meaning they hit each other. So the social worker lied. And when the social worker lied, she was caught in her lie. She committed perjury. She was so embarrassed she left the court. But she told us parents, you'll never see your daughter again. And so what she did, she retaliated. She told her daughter to emancipate from the parents. That means divorce your mom and dad, your sibling, your brothers and sisters, your 3 brothers and 2 sisters, your aunts and uncles, your grandparents, your cousins. It was really sad. And she was only 12 years old. She didn't know what she was doing. So she divorced her parents. And then on top of that, she was told to change her name by the social worker. And she did that. She took away her beautiful name, and her middle name was Honolulu, a beautiful place in Kauai, the Garden Island. So she erased her name completely. She sealed her birth certificate, the one that where her current parents were her mother and father. We raised her from age, birth to 12 years of age. And so she sealed that, got a new birth certificate, and also a new Social Security card, and she was double dipping out of my Social Security, which was wrong because she was taking it twice. And if Social Security knew about what social service, the CPS, was doing, they would have really raised fits. She also was adopted by the foster care, and their name was put on the new birth certificate as the parents. She's now 22 years old. It's happened in 2017 when she was 12. Well, she was 12 in 2015, so it happened actually in 2016. Anyway, she had turned 12. I guess she was taken from us in 2015 when she was 11. And it's a hard thing as a father and a mother losing you're not your firstborn, but one of your precious children. And it's sad to think about it. It's sad to know that CPS is so corrupt that they would do that. They would do that. Now, I have people that have come into the room and left and gone by. I know it's early in the morning, but I'd really like to have one of you call in, and I put my number up. It's at 626-698-0990. And I'd love to hear from you if you get this message. When you get this message. Because when you call in, you can actually talk about your case on my phone. I'll turn on the speakerphone. But CPS is so corrupt. I had to get an attorney because I could not fight him with a court-appointed attorney. They do nothing for you. They don't even have a background in juvenile law, family law, or dependency law. They're criminal law attorneys first starting out. They're young, inexperienced. Also, they're so loaded with cases with 30 or more clients. They don't have time to really talk to you or fight your case. They're not going to. They're going to look for the easiest way to get out of the case. They're going to look for the easiest way to get out of the case. So I know how you feel. I know what you're going through, and I want to help you. There are so many topics that we can have. This is an interactive place. If you want to talk about the ICWA, Indian Child Welfare Act of 1978, we can talk about it. Or how to file a 388 motion. Or what is a 180 hearing or a 160 hearing? How do you fire attorney? How do you fire judges? You're going to find your judge. When a CPS agency is crooked, and so is the judge. And you're doomed, as I was doomed in my case. It still hurts to this day. I did get attorney Vincent Davis, but I had to quick sell my home. I gave up my home, which I don't know. I don't have a home now. I mean, I rent a place where money is just going in and not being invested into something. But it is hard. Is there light at the tunnel? Well, I got my two boys back. I'm grateful for Vincent Davis for doing that. And I really am thankful for that. It is a hard thing. All of you will suddenly be thrown in disarray by CPS, the corrupt CPS. There's two kinds of CPS, and I'm talking about the corrupt one. Now, there's another number I have up there, 888-888-6582. That's the law office of Vincent W. Davis. And if you want to hire him, you can call in right now to that number. And he'll work out your retainer-free area. For instance, if you're in LA County, which is the closest to his office in Arcadia, Los Angeles, it's $5,000 retainer for LA County and $500 an hour. And you could have an attorney, but I know it's hard to come up with $5,000. I mean, that'd take me a couple months working at a measly job at $20 an hour, and only doing 20 hours a week. It would take you a couple months to come up with that much money. But it's important that you get that attorney, because if you don't, you won't win your case. As I say, it's like doing open heart surgery without a real doctor. A plumber can't help you. An auto mechanic can't help you. Those kinds of people are not the right kind. You need someone trained in juvenile law, family law, and dependency law. That's what you need. That's what you need. And that's my rule number one. To get an attorney, you need to get quotes from 3. Now, I give you one already, Vincent W. Davis. He meets all the requirements. All you have to do is call him, ask for his references, and see if the chemistry is good between you and him. You can call him for free if you're a guest on my live stream or make a phone call. It's 15 minutes of free private consultation. Or if you want to pay $60, he'll talk to you for 30 minutes. There you can find out if the chemistry is good between you both and whether the backgrounds that you ask check out and so forth. But Vincent has what it takes to fight CPS. You need a fighter in CPS. And you need to look up your attorney. To find your attorney, you need to do my rule number 4, which is using the internet correctly. You need to phrase your words right, the right order. You need to list the city, the state, and then put the letters CPS. And if you're from outside of the United States, put the country, then put the letters CPS. And then you put in your juvenile law, family law, dependency law, a lawyer who has fought CPS and won. So you'll see that on the internet, and you call those people, and you narrow it down to 2 people you think meet the requirement, and you call them with 2 questions. The first question is, are you a juvenile family law or dependency law attorney? And who has fought CPS and gotten children back? If the answer to that question is yes, the next question to proceed on is that when the the case is over, have you filed a lawsuit, a civil lawsuit in both family court or dependency court? And the answer, if it's yes, then you got yourself a candidate to be further interviewed and to verify their references. So that's how you find an attorney. And believe me, when you get one, you'll be so much relieved. It takes a lot of heaviness against you because there are good attorneys. Vincent Davis is one. He's a trial attorney. And he was my attorney. He helped me get back my boys. Now, another important rule to talk about is how to document everything. You need to document everything. What I mean by document, you should get yourself a notebook. That's my rule number 2. Stuff it full of notebook paper and subject dividers. Also, hole punch and put in your court documents and the other documents relating to this case. A very important document is the time log incident. It's a log of incidents, and you should get a sheet of paper and devote 3 sentences, 3 lines to this incident. Incidents are with children, with social workers, with police, with family members in school, and so forth. You write down the phone number if it's called in or the location. You write that down, and then you put down the time and date you make the call and the people that you're involved with. You met with so-and-so, and then you want to take, that's the first sentence, and then the next line, you want to do a summary of what the incident was all about. And you write that on the second line. On the third line, you write down the outcome of the incident. And if you don't have the outcome, you can fill it in later because you will have it. So this incident log will be kind of like a diary or something like that. It's going to keep track of everything. It's going to prove to the courts what you're trying to say. So you need to put this down, and you need to start from the oldest to the newest. And you'll soon have 65 to 100 incidents. But then 6 months, you will look at your notes, you'll be able to know what the incident was. So try to have that documents organized, put in your drug tests, put in your grade reports of your children, those kinds of things that can substantiate what was really happening with your child. And you need to do this until your case is over. And you may have thousands of incidents, but it will come in handy when you're trying to prove something in court or help out your attorney while you're in court. Now, I know it's early, and I've had people come into this room and just say no one wants to do talking, which is okay. I can talk about a lot of things there. Rule number 3 is so important, where you don't talk to social workers or the police. Don't let them in your home. Don't answer the door. Be quiet. Eventually, you'll talk to them, but you want to talk with legal counsel. You want to have your attorney represent if you're going to talk to them. You need to tell them that. If you're outside and you encounter them, tell them you cannot speak to them right now. You need your attorney. If this is a legal matter, then I need my attorney. So that's kind of the justification still have an attorney. They're very tricky. They con you into let them in their home, and then they start to search. You didn't give them permission to go in their home or to search. A family member may have let them in. You need to tell your family members not to answer the door. Too many people have been killed by policemen, so that's why you don't answer the door. You just don't know. It's Russian roulette. To think one time somebody's lose their cool and fire the gun off 5 times. That was an airman in Gainesville, Florida, that was shot 5 times in the chest. So, this is a hard thing to face. I face it every day. I've been fighting it for 15 years. But I learned now not to answer my door, to get a hold of my attorney right away to face this legal challenge. Also, if you encounter them in your yard or outside, you can tell them that you need to have your attorney present before you can talk to them. They will usually go. You don't have to let them in your home unless you give them permission or someone else gave permission. Now, if they're in danger by somebody, they're going to come into the home. If a child's in danger, they're going to come into the home. Another way that they can gain entrance in your home is by a warrant. Now, most of you don't have warrants, but they get warrants for entering into a home to make you talk to give up your child. Sometimes it's hard to talk on dry material. We don't have much left of our podcasts. We don't have too much left of our podcasts. Now, rule number 3 is when you have that warrant, make sure you check it out. It could be an old one. They will lie and they'll try to change things. It's got to be a wet signature and it's got to be a hand stamp on it where it raises the letters so it's legit. Also, if the dates are on a weekend or a holiday during the weekdays, then it's a bogus warrant. They don't have court on holiday weekdays or the weekend. It's got to have specific instructions and date and time. You got to look it over and make sure it's legit. There's another kind of trafficking that's happening called medical trafficking. I know there's foster care, but it's medical, and that is where you take your child into urgent care or emergency room for treatment for some ailment. And a social worker now is habitating the urgent care's emergency room to look for things they can take your child. Whatever you do not give up your child when you're at the hospital. Again, they have to have a warrant. So, this medical trafficking also includes having a baby. Too many mothers are having their children taken from them. In walks the police and the social worker. The police is used for intimidation. They really don't have the powers that they're doing. They do it for intimidation. The police are supposed to protect the social worker, not enforce the laws that the social worker is trying to enforce. That's the sad part. So just say no to them. They have to have a warrant. If you just gave birth, tell them to leave the room. Tell them to go wait in the lobby. Have a hospital administration escort them out of the room. You didn't put them on your list. They're strangers, and you need to get them out of your life. So watch the medical trafficking. Now, Rule 4, I talked about earlier, it's about how to use the internet and the formation of words, the way you place them. Start off with the city, the state, then the letter CPS, and then you can put in specifically what you're looking for in CPS. So anyway, you search the internet, spend 60 to 80 hours. 60 to 80 hours is what you want to spend. And if it's a small city like Athens, Georgia, you may have to put a comma and put the word Atlanta, then Georgia. And with you people from outside of the United States, put in the country when you research it. Spend 60 to 80 hours of researching your time. 60 to 80 hours. It's so important. It's so important. And my last rule is your documentation. You should make copies of your birth certificate, your marriage certificate, copies of their children's birth certificate, their grade reports, your driver's license, your marriage license. All these documents, make copies and put them in a folder and have them with your notebook. That's so important to have these documents. So those are my 5 rules in a nutshell. Now, this child protection system is found in every county and every state. And that folder is placed with your notebook. So those are the 5 simple rules. Now we're getting close to our time. It's almost over. So I want to thank all of you for listening and coming to my live stream. Now, I'm on again tonight at 8 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. That's 8 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. And then also, I'm on in the morning at 4 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. That is Saturday and Sunday. The same thing at night at 8 p.m. These next 3 days are all special times. So I want to thank you all for listening and coming into my live stream. This is Bob Pace saying, keep fighting for your children. Don't give up. God bless you. And I'm signing off. Bob Pace signing off.